It's kind of important that we show not only our successes, but our epic failures here at our Serenity Homestead. You guys, if you've been watching a while, you know we struggle with keeping our outdoor water pump and our filters from freezing every year. And this is the 4th winter, and we failed again. And I was pretty sure it was going to work this time. Yeah. No. Let me show you some parts. Yeah. That's what's left of our water system. You can see this tube is cracked all the way through. And these are actually the broken bottoms of the heads that hold the filters in place. All but one of the heads were broken. Now, the reason I was sure I had this figured out, and I should have filmed it, but I didn't. I built this epic, humongous insulated box. It is 2-inch insulation with extruded aluminum on each side, framed with 2x4s. It was completely stuffed in and around all the filters with insulation and a moving blanket on top and a heat lamp sitting directly on top of these heads. And it did pretty good until it didn't. Apparently, while I was down in Texas getting some loves from my new granddaughter's very first Christmas, we had some negative temperatures in Arkansas. And I did take the precaution, thank goodness, to shut the water supply off to the filters and to the house. And I had pre-pumped about 62, 63 gallons of water in containers to leave inside the cabin. So we had water in the cabin, it just didn't come out of the spigot. I shut off the water coming in, I shut off the water going out, and then I used this drain to drain the pressure on the lines, and therefore none of the lines broke. None of this PVC cracked, with the exception of the little piece that goes from the outlet of the pump into the main line of the house. From the outlet of the pump into the main line of the house, that one cracked. But ever so slightly. But the filters where the heat lamp was, since the heat lamp went out and it was sitting directly on the housing, that shattered. So I am working. Thankfully, we have a motto here at our Serenity Homestead: 1 is none and 2 is 1. So we always have extra filters and heads and containers. And I just happen to have 4 of those. You see how the old ones broke? So I happen to have enough of these. And I have scabbed together the piece that goes into the outlet of the pump. Finally had enough of that. Really didn't think I was going to have everything, but I do. So now it's just a process of putting it back together. What I'm going to do different, it's going to use 2 filters instead of 4. 1 sediment and 1 bacteria carbon filter. And I have kind of placed a board across the back here inside. And I'm going to drill the big holes to drop the filters in there. And that way they can just slip in there. And we'll see how that goes. I'm not going to be able to film while I'm doing this because I'm outside doing this by myself. One day we will explain where Susan is, but that ain't the day. So let me reassemble what I'm going to do. Hopefully I can get this cut out and we shall see. I don't mean to be so cryptic, but Susan's story is Susan's story. And I'll let her talk to y'all about that at some future date. She is here. She is at the cabin. She's not helping me film right now, and we'll get that. So don't worry, Susan is alive and still here at the cabin. So let me get started on this. Hopefully I can get the holes cut, because I don't know where my jigsaw is. Okay, I have these two heads assembled. I use Teflon tape and plumber's putty, and I have marked out where they're going to get cut on this new plank. I was careful to make sure that I had an in and an out, and an in and an out. So the water, conceivably the water will come in here from the cistern, flow through this first sediment filter, and go out into the second, which will be the carbon bacteria filter, and then it'll go out to the foot valve and then into the pump. So that's where we are right now. I'm gonna see if I can cut out this these two circles. We'll see. I found my jigsaw. Okay, forgive all the sawdust, but that will do it. Now I just have those laying in there. I just wanted to see if they would fit in the holes, but that's how that's gonna mount. I showed you before, the water will come in here to the sediment filter and then move to the carbon filter for bacteria. And so now I got to mount this board in that frame. So I'll slide these up and out. I'll mount the board in the frame. I will get the nipples on the side and the 90-degree turn. And I really want to test this before I wrap everything up. So I want to get it kind of slammed together, you know, appropriately. I want to get the piece right there that's missing between the outlet of the pump and the main line to the house. I want to get that put in, and then we'll see if we have running water. I believe we will. Pump. Really, really, really bad news. Let me show you this pump. Look at that. It's broken. The metal is broken. Where the housing, the bell housing of the pump is, it's completely broken. I was just about to put this piece in here to hook it up, the outlet piece, and I noticed it. It's really bad. So, time for a new pump. And maybe you can see now. I have the cistern turned on, sediment filter and a carbon filter going up into a union, a foot valve, and into this pump. Now, this is not a brand new pump. Last year, the pump we had, hold on, let me turn this around. I'll stand out here. Last year, the pump we had, the bladder in the pump ruptured. The pump was fine, but the bladder in the actual pressure tank ruptured. So we had to buy a new pump because you can't just buy the bladder. So when this thing broke, it's just the cast iron around the top of the pump. So my friend Jeff from the Damn Yankee Homestead came over because he has stronger hands, and he broke all the nuts on the tank and took the bad pump off the good tank and the good pump off the bad tank, and we swapped the two pumps onto the existing pressure tank. And As you can see, I went down to 2 filters. I don't think that's going to be a problem. It's a whole house filter. 1 should be enough, but I want the bacteria carbon filter as well. So I turned on the cistern, filled up the filters, primed the pump, and everything's working. However, that is our new water heater from last year, and I had it covered with metal and insulation and a heat lamp, and the lamp was connected and right here, and that's where the elements are, and it's still ruptured. So once again, we're having to heat up our water on the stove if we need hot water, and just so over cheap shipped from overseas water heaters. I think what I'm going to do is take my really good, nice one I had a couple years ago that split, and it split because I just didn't know what I was doing. I'm going to replace the parts because you can order parts for that, and I'm going to put it back up here because I'm tired of buying a new one every year. But that storm is moving in. They were calling for hail and thunderstorms and all that. So, I don't know if you can hear the thunder. So I'm going to go in the house. I'm already soaking wet. Sometime in the next couple of days, I will re-insulate this, and I'll put a small heater in there instead of a... And I have heat tape right there. I have heat tape. This is heat tape. And I'm going to wrap every inch of this system in heat tape. And then I'll put a heater in there as well. Put the insulation on it, cover it up, and we should be good. And I say that every year. I know you know that. Anyway, that's all I got. The water is running. I just don't have hot water right now, and that's okay. Be back.